Kabbalistic analysis of Matthew 4, 1-11. Then was Yeshua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. The language itself points to a connection. Midbar, wilderness, echoes dibur, speech. Kabbalah identifies Malchut with speech and the mouth, Malchut Peh. The wilderness can therefore symbolize speech in a state of concealment, when the divine flow has dried up. There may be a voice associated with Zeir Anpin, but without the fullness of speech associated with Malchut, everything remains dry and without water. It is no coincidence that the Torah was given in the wilderness. A person must become like Hefker, ownerless and open to all, and cultivate humility so that the word of God can be heard and received. The 42 encampments and journeys through the wilderness correspond to the sacred structure of the 42-letter name and to the stages of Malchut's purification. The wilderness, then, is not merely a place of emptiness. It is also a process through which a dry word is transformed into something living and fruitful. The term Hasatan means the accuser or the adversary in the heavenly court, as seen in Job 1-2 and Zechariah 3. He acts only with the permission of the Most High, and appears as the accuser of Yeshua the high priest. This is not a form of dualism, but a specific role within divine governance. The Talmud teaches that Satan, the Yetzer Hara, and the angel of death are one. These are three aspects of the same force. It tempts, accuses, and punishes. This is essential for understanding evil in Judaism in a non-dualistic way. The Sitra Achra, the other side, is the realm of impure forces standing opposite the side of holiness. It draws its vitality from holiness and can exist only in its shadow. Hasidic teaching shifts the emphasis inward. The Sitra Achra is understood as the animal soul, or the Yetzer Hara, within the human being, which must be subdued and ultimately transformed. Mitzvot strengthen the side of holiness, while sin gives vitality to the other side. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he afterward hungered. 40 is maturation, transition, and purification. The letter Mem has the numerical value of 40. It is associated with water, Mayim, and with Binah, the womb of understanding. In symbolic language, Mem is the maternal vessel in which something develops and reaches maturity. Gestation and formation. 40 days mark the threshold of fetal formation. Classical Jewish sources state that until 40 days, the embryo is considered water. Thus, 40 represents a period of inner transformation when potential begins to take form. Purification and rebirth. The minimum required volume of a mikveh is 40 seah. Moses spent 40 days on Mount Sinai, 3 separate periods of 40 days. The flood lasted 40 days, and Israel wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Each of these represents a passage through water or time in which the old dissolves and something new is born. Structural meaning. The number 40 can also be understood as the 4 worlds multiplied by the 10 Sephirot, a complete manifestation through every level: Atzilut, Beria, Yetzirah, and Asiya. In this sense, 40 means bringing something to completion on every plane. A practical image. To enter the mem means allowing yourself a period of maturation through study, teshuvah, or purification, before the inner light can be revealed outwardly. And the tempter came and said unto him, If thou art the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. Stone, the lowest level of vitality, domem, the inanimate realm. A stone symbolizes the most limited manifestation of divine light, heaviness, concealment, and spiritual insensitivity. This is why the phrase, a heart of stone, lev ha'even, represents dulled sensitivity and the dominance of judgment, or din. A building block of reality. In Sefer Yetzirah, letters are compared to stones, while the words and worlds formed from them are called houses. A stone, therefore, represents a letter or a basic unit of form from which manifestation is built. The unity of Father and Son. The Hebrew word eben, even, can be divided into ab and ben, av, father, and ben, son. In Kabbalistic language, this hints at the union of Abba, associated with Chokhmah, and Zir Anpin. Their union builds the house, meaning Malchut. The foundation stone. This is the foundational stone of the temple, traditionally understood as the point from which the world unfolded. Symbolically, it represents the link between the upper and lower realms. It may be associated with Yesod as the foundation, or with Malchut as the cornerstone. The stone rejected by the builders. Through this stone, divine light enters the world. The stone tablets. The letters of the Torah were engraved into stone. In other words, the light was not merely written on the surface of the vessel, but became completely united with it. This represents the ideal of Torah engraved into the very nature of the soul. In summary, the stone represents form and vessel at the lowest level of revealed vitality, while also serving as the foundation of all spiritual construction. It can symbolize the heaviness of judgment, but also the cornerstone upon which the house of holiness is built. Bread, lechem, nourishment and divine flow, shefa. Bread symbolizes the divine abundance descending from heaven, associated with Zeir Anpin, to the earth, associated with Malchut. The earth produces bread when it receives dew and rain, reflecting the union of the masculine and feminine principles. Torah as spiritual food. The verse, "Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word of God," presents bread as a garment or vessel for the divine word. The study of Torah is therefore a form of spiritual nourishment. The lechem hapanim, the showbread. The 12 loaves in the temple represent channels of nourishment for the 12 tribes. They also symbolize a constant state of face-to-face relationship, panim el panim, in which Malchut receives the light of Tiferet. Manna and the double bread. Manna, the bread from heaven, represents a more subtle and elevated form of nourishment, associated with higher consciousness, or mochin. The 2 loaves used on Shabbat, lechem mishneh, hint at a double flow of blessing, from above and below, and at the complete nourishment of the soul. Nahama de Kisufa, the bread of shame. This is a classic theme in the Zoharic and Lurianic traditions. A gift received without effort produces shame. The soul therefore descends into the world to earn its bread, transforming an undeserved gift into something attained through mitzvot. In this way, shame is removed and the world undergoes tikkun, rectification. Bread and struggle, lechem and lehilachem. The Hebrew words for bread and to struggle share the same root. Earning bread requires overcoming obstacles and severities, or gevurot. The entire process, from ploughing the field to baking the loaf, can be understood as a chain of birurim, acts of refinement through which sparks of holiness are extracted from physical matter. In summary, bread represents divine light becoming nourishment within vessels. It includes heavenly manna and ordinary human labor, the showbread of the temple and the spiritual food of Torah. Bread shows how shefa becomes life and how a person can transform the bread of shame into the bread of joy. But he answered and said, "It is written, 'Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God.'" Then the devil took him up into the holy city, set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, 'He shall give his angels charge over you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone.'" Yeshua said to him, "It is written again, 'You shall not tempt the Lord your God.'" Again, the devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." Perhaps the phrase, "fall down and worship me," refers to accepting the side of judgment and accusation in relation to the world. Then Yeshua said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, 'You shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve.'" Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. In Kabbalah, angels, malachim, are not little gods, but divine messengers and spiritual forces, channels of divine influence, or shefa, through which the will of the Most High flows into the worlds.